Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of the Gameable Audio, a VGM podcast. I am your host, Kristoffer Schenström, and this is episode 31. And today is a very special day for me. I am super excited to invite a very special composer and artist that is named Martin Noriander, sorry. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm fine. No, it's not a easy name to pronounce since it's unique. We took that name when me and my wife got married, so it's only us in Sweden named Noriander.
Oh, that's very special. Was it a combination or just a pure coincidence that you wanted to take?
No, it's a combination. Nordin and Andersson.
That's magical in my opinion. I love when couples do that.
Cool.
But yeah, you are usually not so known when people are talking about your name. I think most of the people know you of your artist name Instant Remedy. And this is also one of the biggest things why I wanted to have you on this. First of all, I just wanted to say it was so much fun when I got to meet you in person at Modeskeppet 2 a while back. And also it was from what I understand, your first live performance.
Yeah, that's correct. I've been asked several times before, but I didn't see how I was supposed to bring something interesting to a stage just by standing by the computer and just standing around. I had a hard time saying I wanted to do it, but since I started singing and I thought it would be a good idea to use that venue to stand on the stage. So it was fun.
Yeah, and I had a absolutely amazing time as well, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people had, because holy crap, everybody was dancing at that point in time.
Yeah, it was really fun to see all the people on the floor and standing up on the stage. Yeah, it was
I'm guessing it's a very special situation happening, especially since it was your first time as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's actually go back in time a little bit. I want to know a little bit about the bits and pieces of what kind of led up to the interest of doing what you do with music, first of all here. What made you get started into this interest?
Yeah, I was studying in Gävle, and a guy had it's a big collection, hard voltage SID collection, I think it's called, and that's thousands of SIDs, which you could play with a SID play program, and you heard the Commodore 64 games music exactly like I remembered it for a lot of years.
Mm-hmm. And for people here that does not know or is not well versed with the term of SID, this is actually the chip that came with the C64, if I remember, fully, because I never owned one myself, the C64, correct?
Yeah. So I could hear the music, and I had dabbled with some music and samples and stuff on the Amiga and the PC later on. So I just put some beats to the SID, some beats and bass and some other more contemporary instruments, and that was the start. I feel that some people may think that using the original SID sounds is a bit of cheating, but it's the opposite. I really want to have the original because that's what triggers the nostalgia the most for me. So I just wanted to add something more, some more bass and more layers of instruments to make it sound a little bit fuller, to enjoy it even more. I think that's what the ones who like my kind of treatment think that's good too.
Because listening to your earlier work of what you did, you still, as you said, you had the authenticity of the SID, but you're adding the extra on it. For me, who love Eurobeat and Eurodance type of music, I think you have a lot of inspiration from that. Like when we're listening to your older pieces specifically, is there any specific like inspiration you had that you wanted to combine with those nostalgic tracks that you had for the SID?
Yeah, I liked the dance music of the 90s, the Eurodisco style music. So that just felt natural to combine those two. And the idea was to make the SIDs possible to play them on the dance floor. I'm sure. Yeah, it has been done, but not for the general masses, because that was my mission with the first CD that came out 2002, the Instant Remedy, my first album. It was to try to bring the SIDs to the more to the general.
Yeah, to the mainstream.
Yeah, to the mainstream. I don't think they really enjoyed as much as we do, but yeah, that was my mission at least.
Yeah, I read an old article from 2003 from spelmusik.net, and you were talking a little bit or discussing a little bit in that interview surrounding this, that it wasn't too niche to be like only for the nerdy people that love the nostalgia. And it wasn't really only for the mainstream either. It was like a good hand-in-hand transition in between the two to utilize your style of music.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that even as you moved onwards as well from that point, from the first album?
No, I think it translated into because back then there wasn't as big of a scene that it became later on. So for after that album, I think it was more towards the scene, like we could call it. People like you and me liking the chiptunes and the beats, and yeah, so it wasn't for the wide audience.
So, considering what kind of made you get into it more specifically, now we know that you had this like wide space for all the SID type of music. You were using the Amiga and you were also using the PC in order to kind of combine the SID style together with your own dance beat music. Did you have any prior understanding for musical composition and so on, or did you just fall into it more naturally because you had an interest in it, or?
Yeah, it was more of an interest than proper classical music learning. Yeah, by that time, I think it was not so usual, but by the time Avicii and the DJ or computer-generated music became more common. Today, it's very common for people just to have a laptop or a computer and make your music by ear or as good as you can, instead of a classical guitar or piano or that kind of training.
It feels like first of all, there's a lot of tutorials nowadays surrounding like how to compose music. So somebody could have like a straight A in a course, or somebody can have like a straight A in YouTube watching making music today. Considering what we had before, where we didn't really have internet in the same extent that we have today. Not everybody made tutorials for things. So it was a lot of trial and error. How was the trial and error for you getting into it? Did you have any friends that were also interested in that helped out, or did you really force this interest and really dug into it?
I think I just dug into it. I didn't have as much gear or synths and samplers and stuff, so I bought some 2 synthesizers for the first album, and I just sampled. I didn't use them straight up, to some extent, but I mainly used samples from the synths and the beats and samples in the on the PC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you started getting out, also because I'm guessing you didn't start out by, hey, let's make X amount of tracks and then let's release an album and let's see what happens. I'm guessing you just like a lot of other people released 1-2 songs and got some feedback from it, or how was it for you in that sense?
Exactly. I released a couple of MP3s on the internet, I think it was Triad MP3s. I think it's pretty well known by the hardcore people from back in the day, and that site, because that's the place where the first remixes appeared that were worth listening to. I got some feedback, and Chris on c64audio.com. It's a label for Commodore 64 music and scene-related music. I sent some of the MP3s to him just to get some feedback, and he didn't like my style particularly, but he saw the quality,
the potential of it.
Yeah, the potential. So he suggested I make an album. So that sounded like a cool idea. So I did a bunch of remixes, and we put them on a CD. So that's the first.
So I'm guessing it was kind of motivating for you then to reach out to this Chris. And if I remember correctly, the last name was like Abbott or something like that?
Yeah, Chris Abbott. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And hearing from him, it's like, oh, it's not my type of style. Hearing that just in that sentence, it could be a little bit like a negative kind of feedback. It's like, oh, damn it, I tried, but then he said that the thing like, yeah, but I think you can make an album.
Yeah.
I think that could be really motivating to hear that, hey, it's not my style, but I think you really have the potential to release more, not just, these are nice.
Yeah, I think he didn't create the remixes in the style I do. So everybody's taste is different, but I think he was around and saw the attention of the remixes my free remixes had. So I think he saw the potential and thought it might be a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the potential is pretty good. And I think just so everybody understands a little bit of this potential that we're talking about, I think it's a great segue to actually listen to the first track of the week. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I actually made it before I made the first album. It was one of the tracks that went onto the internet and caught some attention.
So, yeah, let's listen to the first track of the week of this episode, and it's called Comic Bakery. Awesome dancey part of Comic Bakery, and if I remember correctly, most of these games, Comic Bakery, for example, I actually haven't played this one. I know of the music, but I don't know about the game that much.
Yeah.
But this is a remix of the main theme, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, I think so. This song, the Comic Bakery song, I remixed. I remember that from the crack intros from some other game, so it's actually not from the Comic Bakery game.
The game
Yeah,
itself.
exactly. So somebody stole the music and used it for their crack intro, and then I listened to it.
So considering that fact, then I'm guessing you were a lot into the demo scene early on as well.
No.
Not maybe personally, but liking the music, for example, with crack throws and etc.
Yeah, the crack throws were fantastic. Also on the Amiga, the crack throws were almost even more exciting. They were always or very often very chippy sounding, and on the Amiga you were going to or people were starting to using samples, but I like the purity of the simple waveforms on the chiptunes, so I liked the chippy music more, actually.
Yeah, the really, I would say the dancey type of vibes of melodies are really, I would say, addictive.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's one of the best words to describe it in a good sense. But considering when you started out, you had the SID music to kind of work by the SID chip files, and you added your own kind of style towards it. In the beginning, I'm guessing you were experimenting a little bit. Did you also think about like making your own, just purely like SID style type of music, or Amiga style modular music style?
No.
Working with the limitations and so on.
Yeah, that's strange, because that didn't appeal to me as much. It was more about the nostalgia. I liked the awesome tunes from the past, so that was the main draw by making music in general, just by having the nostalgia once more. It was like a drug almost.
No, I understand this so well, because I tend to go back to old music, especially during summers. I have this one track from when I was younger, which I love to play when I'm out walking, for example, during the summer. So I definitely understand what you're talking about in this point.
Yeah. I also like the arpeggio chords, the fast switching tone to create a chord. The technique used on the Commodore 64 and also Amiga. I think it's for people not. It's either you like it or you hate it. Normal people get very put off by that sound, because when you hear, like my wife, for example, when I played Magic Disc 64, it starts out like a regular Eurodisco song, and then the arpeggio chords kick in, and then it just turns to a blip-blop weird music in a second. But that's what's attracting to me. So yeah, the taste is different.
So how come I'm guessing Comic Baker was also one of the more first tracks you did. Checking through your depository with the discography of music and tracks you've done and uploaded on Remix 64. Comic Baker is one of those tracks that is shown like the earliest. Yeah. But as you said, this was actually done prior to the album. Yeah. So what's a little bit more backstory on Comic Bakery specifically? And would be fun to hear why as well.
Yeah,
Comic Bakery.
Comic Bakery is, if not the one, but the top 3 best songs or SIDs from the Commodore 64. I'm sure it has great arpeggio chords and a really cool melody. And and it was very well suited for my regular treatment with the bass and the drums and the dancey. It fits the dancey format too. And I saw in Galway, Martin Galway, who made the tune. In an interview, I saw him mentioning my remix and said his son was dancing to the remix. That was really cool to read. That it. Galway himself played the music and his son was enjoying it as a little child, I guess.
But I think that's like the best type of review you can get.
Absolutely.
In all honesty,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like you're paying like a good respect to his music by remixing it, and he's kind of paying it forward by saying like, this is a great music, and even my child is agreeing on this.
Yeah. Yes. So I think that combination of my style and that original track was a good fit. Yeah, it's one of my favorite. I think it's since it had some years, the quality and the production values are not like you are expecting today. But if I'm watching the streams on Spotify, people doesn't agree with that because that's one of the most played tracks. That and Flimbo's Quest, I think, are the most played from the C64 at least. And thus just keeps getting played. I've done some more stuff or later stuff with I think has better production values, but people just keeps playing those old songs, I guess.
Do you have any like idea why? Could it be just because of the nostalgia for people that maybe people in our ages like, hey, I want to listen to Comic Bakery music, and they find the remix, or do you think there's something else to
I think it's people that have listened to it 1,000 times and they just keep listening to it. I have those songs myself. I can't think of any right now. Yeah, but some of the classic Eurodance tracks or music from long ago that's inferior to the music that gets released today, quality-wise. But it has something that just sticks, and you can't beat that. As people listening to old rock songs, they just keep listening to them, and they don't want any re-recordings or anything different. They just want that exact song and want to enjoy it time after time.
Yeah. No, I definitely could agree to this one as well. For example, one of my favorite bands, Sonata Arctica, is like re-releasing some albums, and I feel like they're kind of missing the spot of why I loved it in the first place.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just getting old and just don't like new music coming out. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a thing too, because I've been thinking about
music
that. When you're young, in your teens, I think you are sucking in impressions by music that you don't do later in life, because that's a really there's much happening in your life and in your brain that you're growing up and getting an adult, and it happens so much in that couple of years.
Yeah, definitely.
So the music,
all the different impressions we're taking in, it's insane.
So the music is a really strong influence over your feelings at that time in your life, and that's just sticks. I think I will like the music I liked at that age for the rest of my life, I guess. It seems like that now anyway.
Yeah, and considering the release date of this, you worked with this one prior to this. One of the most interesting things I find here is also that you work as an artist, but also with audio within video games.
Yeah.
And from what I could see, it was all the way back to the year 2000 where I saw some credits with your name. Is that correct?
Yeah, 2000. Yeah. I'm not sure what I did 2000.
In 2000, I see the Mobile One Rally Championship for PlayStation as art.
Yeah, I just made some sound effects and audio stuff. I didn't do any with music. But actually I did some music for a PlayStation game called Hot Wheels. That was pretty long ago. I guess around 2000 something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw Hot Wheels Extreme Racing from 2001.
Yeah, that's the one. I think I made 3 tracks for that one.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
So was that your like first professional work with music then in a video game?
It was like we worked on the project as an artist. So producer from USA came and said, "Oh, the music sucks," or he didn't like the music that has been done for the game up until then. And my boss says, "Oh, Martin, he does some music," and he listened to some of my remixes, and he said, "Oh, this is the shit! You have to make some tracks for the game." He really liked. I think he liked the dancey vibe, and then I made a couple of tracks for it.
I would say it's kind of playful, and I think for a Hot Wheels game, which is based on children toys, I think your dancey style adds up pretty well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was just happy to get some money for the music I made. So.
Now, I guess getting your first paycheck when working with the music must have been surreal to some extent.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. So, considering that you're working with both music, art, and also a little bit of sound effects, then I do get a feeling that you're a little bit like jack of all trades to some extent.
That's very much true. Also, on the art side, I don't do, or I do quite varying stuff with the art, and it's mainly, and on the audio side, it's mainly audio and not so much music. Some games I do the music when we can't find a good fit. Otherwise, we try to buy stock music that fits. There's a lot of music, and I think with AI, it's gonna be even easier to find something fitting or even made custom by a couple of mouse clicks. But anyway, so I have never considered doing music for games on any bigger scale. It's just if it fits, it fits. So
I'm guessing it could be an interest issue there as well, that you like to make remixes more than original music, maybe, by any chance.
It's that kind of nostalgia, addictive part of me that's a bit stronger than getting original stuff.
I see.
But doing original stuff, it has some advantages and some drawbacks for both sides. But
it always does. But I think it's time for us to get into the next track of the week here. It's one of my favorite ones, and also, just so you know, also one of the first songs I heard from you.
Yeah, cool.
The song that I'm talking about is none other than Flimbo's Quest. There we fade out Flimbo's Quest. This is one of my definitely favorites. I would say, well, when you're listening, it's a fan favorite from me, and I'm considering of how many listens I've seen on Spotify and on YouTube. It is also one of the most popular songs that you have released to date. For me, I don't exactly remember exactly which year it was, but I think it was around 2008 And I think 2010 when I first listened to this, and it was actually from another podcast that introduced this specific song. And I was hooked from the start. And the podcast is actually the predecessor to this podcast, which was called Spelklassiker Musik. They made, I think, 300 episodes, and then they decided to shut it down. And that's the point where I took over and started making my podcast, because I was missing video game music. No, so I definitely love this one. Never, as I said before, I've actually never really played many of these games that you make music for. So, of course, when I'm listening to your tracks, you're also getting me interested in what type of game this is. I actually didn't play too much of Flimbos's Quest when I looked into it. I mostly just looked at videos and pictures from this. And then I just returned listening to the original track of this one. So what's your relation to Flimbos's Quest? I'm guessing this is not another crack throw style.
No, I actually played the Amiga version of Flimbos's Quest, because at that time I moved on to the Amiga, and it was System 3, I think, who made the game, who made the Last Ninja and all those games. If I'm not wrong. And I didn't feel the music on the Amiga when I played it was so special. But then I saw, when I was trying the SID collection, I saw the Flimbos's Quest name, and I thought, I recognize that at least. And I really liked the Commodore 64 SID versions. Was superior to the Amiga versions, and there were actually a lot of other melodies and tunes in Flimbos's Quest that was really odd. So this was just absolute best in my opinion. And later on I made another remix for the Mixed Up album in a similar vibe. But and I think, I'm not sure why people like it, but I think it's that's one of the tracks too that fits quite well with the bouncy and playful vibe of the dance genre.
Yes, I can definitely add my comment on that one, and because I'm not much of a dancer, but I really just like to jump around to music, and Flimbos's Quest was actually really fun to jump around to, and listening on my phone in my car with my speakers there, driving around the city with 100% on the audio there, just pumping around. I just loved it. But that's the type of nerd I am, so...
Yeah.
But yeah, considering when we have... Since this is a game that also released on multiple computers in this case, like you said, the SID version was quite superior on this specific track.
Yeah.
Considering the music that you had both on the Atari and C64, did you feel like C64 actually had the superior sound chip to a certain extent, or was it more because of the melodies usually tended to be better due to the limitations and possibilities they had on the different consoles or PCs?
Yeah, I think when the composers were getting quite good at using the SID like we appreciate it for, they knew how to use it to the full extent. And on the Amiga, I think the composers felt that they needed to use samples instead to make it sound a bit more modern. I don't think...
Trying to compensate a little bit.
Yeah, they had to compensate. And they almost feel forced to use samples to... I think they wanted to get away from the chiptune sound that we love. So that's a bit of a shame, I think.
I agree.
So that's why I like the crack intros, because they had to use a very small amount of memory, so they had to use or very short samples, looped samples.
Yeah, they became quite intricate, just working with the different audio channels that were available to you. Just looking back on like a Game Boy or a Nintendo 8-bit, working with 4 channels, it's quite impressive to hear some of these tracks, and you don't really believe there are just four channels going on here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the composers for the SID was not afraid of using the arpeggio chords, because when you play the NES or Nintendo 8-bit games, it's very common to use the two square channels as in tandem, or I'm not sure of the word. When you use the two voices to make a chord, it's
So they work a little bit in parallel to each other.
Yeah, they work in parallel. Instead of using one channel for arpeggio chord to make it more lush and full, and they just used it straight up, and it doesn't sound as good. Also, the waveforms on the Nintendo are not as interesting. Just square waves and a triangle and noise. Yeah, and some form of sampling. Yeah, the Commodore 64 or SID chip was superior to most other chips at the time.
And I heard rumors about that. You should correct me if I'm wrong, if you know more about this, because I'm since I didn't grow up in the same kind of extent with C64 and Atari, because I was more of a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, a little bit PC then after that. But the SID chip was also, why it was so good and why it's so hard to replicate that type of sound today when people are trying to replicate it is due to the fact that it actually has something faulty inside of it, from what I understood.
Yeah, there's some SID bug or quirks. Also, there are some analog elements to it. I'm not sure how technical we want to go, but I think
if it's too technical, I will ask questions.
Yeah, I'm not an expert either, but I think from what I heard or read is that every SID chip is unique and has a distinct sound. So they're kind of unique.
They're very unique then.
Yeah.
It's like your C64 sounds in one way and another one sounds in another way. Not like a night and day
no
thing, but still has some certainties to it.
Yeah, if you compare it from sample to sample, I think they will differ, but they sound pretty equal to my ears, at least. There were a couple of different models that had different kind of filter. Yeah, some differences in sound, and between those two chips, you can definitely hear a difference if you A and B them.
Yeah, if you're super nerdy about it.
Yeah. I'm not so super nerdy actually about it has to be pure and all this kinds of nerdy stuff. I just like the I just like
feel
it.
of it.
Yeah.
No, but considering I know when people are utilizing perfectionism and so on, for example, when we're talking about nostalgia, there are these people that are really like, oh, for nostalgia, it's got to be 100% pure, etc. But for me, nostalgia can be just, if I hear one chord that sparks my memory to it, because audio usually tends to spark memories for me. So when I'm listening to certain music, I get like, oh, I was sitting in the living room playing this game, or oh, my mom was doing the dishes when I'm listening to this track, and so on.
Exactly.
How is the nostalgia for you?
Yeah,
the same like me, or
exactly. I can remember the time, and not exactly what I did on all those occasions, but I can definitely remember the state of mind or how I felt. The feeling I had back then comes back, and it's quite strong.
So when you're making a remixes like this, it feels like you're recreating memories for not only yourself but for people listening to them then.
Yeah, exactly. The main idea, or the main drive from the beginning, and most of the rest of my remixing career is I do them for myself. I do those games. I do tribute to those games or melodies that I find very much nostalgic for me. And as a bonus, other people share my view on many of these tunes. So it's just a bonus that other people also like what I do. Because if I haven't liked to do it myself, I've never done it.
Yeah, you wouldn't have gotten this far, most likely.
No, because it's not something you get rich on. Not in money, at least, but you get rich in feelings of and to do something you want to do. It's just you just feel that you have to do it.
I think one of the good things that could be you kind of pay your time in order to become happier, to have and grasp this nostalgia, to keep to the happy moments in life, to be honest.
Yeah. It's like doing. When you're finished, you feel some kind of satisfaction. Like you create something. It could be you're building something, but when it's done and it's polished and everything is done, you get satisfaction by getting something finished and something you're proud of and can enjoy afterwards for many years. So yeah.
Is completing tracks an easy feat for you? Or is it a struggle to strive for perfectionism in some way? Because I know some people may struggle with this.
It's I'm not sure, but I think many will agree with this that it becomes harder and harder. In the beginning and for the first album, I think I just by today's standards or the how I do things today. When thinking back to those tracks, it feels like I just threw something together and published, and then it was all good. But so I produced a lot of tracks much quicker back then. Even if the technical hurdles were bigger, you had to record stuff on your synthesizers and create samples and split stuff up. Today you just have everything in your DAW, and you can make everything you want. I think that's the like with the chip music, to have the boundaries or limitations makes stuff easier for you, because otherwise you think, oh, I have all these possibilities. I had to squeeze as much of it out as I can. But yeah, I almost always finish a track which I have started. That might be not so usual. I think it's just a couple of tracks, maybe 2 or 3 tracks in my of all tracks I have done that haven't been finished.
Released then, yeah.
Yeah. So otherwise, when I start something, I know I had to complete it. But it's a struggle. It's a I think 70 or 80% struggle and 20-30% is enjoyment.
That you hear it first, folks.
yeah, that's during the creation process. But afterwards, you get most of that ratio shifted. So creating the track would be maybe perhaps 20% struggle, and by listening to it and enjoy it years after, you get the payment back. So to speak.
So it kind of shifts over time. I'm guessing when you're starting out with a new track, you're like excited. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. You start working on everything, and then as you're struggling, oh, I don't get this good. I don't get it. It becomes more frustrating. It becomes a little bit less fun because it's not too easy to finish it. But when you finally finish it and you hear the full track yet again, in its purity, it becomes more enjoyment again because, damn, I did that.
Yes, it's a really rewarding process because when everything falls into place, you get the enjoyment and gets excited with the release. And as always, I do music that I enjoy myself. I don't do music for anyone that tells me what they need. Or I've done that, and it's kind of a unique process to do stuff on commission. That's fun too, because then you have a super listener that gets the song and is appreciating the work, and also others that hears it.
Yeah, I see. But I think it's time to listen to the next track of the week, and this is a mega mix. We're not going to play the full track because the full track is almost 15 minutes long.
Yeah,
if not more. I don't remember exactly how long because I
think
haven't
it's
noted
17
it down.
something.
17 minutes, yeah. So for people that do enjoy the beginning of this, of course, all the tracks, definitely go and listen to them. But yeah, since we're only gonna have like a small bite size of this track, there is so much more to get from this. This is a Chris Hulsbeck Megamix. The Chris Hulsbeck Megamix. There's a lot to take in on this track. Like I said, we will only listen to a small piece of this mighty beast. So there's so much more to take in on this. As I remember from the interview, Chris Hulsbeck is also one of your top composers when it comes to VGM.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he is. He made stuff on the Commodore 64, and but mainly the Amiga that blew me away with it. The Turrican 2 soundtrack is it's one of a kind. It must be one of the best soundtracks on the Amiga, at least in my book. He also made some really cool tunes for Commodore 64. The Gianna Sisters songs, they were really cool, which I like. I actually made a few remixes of the Gianna Sisters. I'm not sure where they are right now, but and they're not too good. They're pretty crappy, but I really like that title song.
Yeah, the title song is nice. But considering also, since you've been talking a little bit now about tracks that you didn't finish or haven't published, will we be able to see these in the future, you think? Or are they always going to be buried deep down somewhere?
No, I think those I haven't released, those aren't nearly finished. I think often in those rare cases, I make a prototype, and if I'm not feeling it, and I don't feel like it's worth pushing any further. I just move on to something I know I want to create.
You're almost doing like a game jam for music, almost getting a vibe of it, if it has potential or not. Then
yeah, I'm often pretty sure if I'm doing it or not. But some tracks have just stayed a prototype and not.
Okay. So considering all the tracks that you have selected, are they usually selected for the nostalgia reasons, or is it more like, oh, I've heard this for the first time today and it's a freaking bop. Now I want to remix it.
It's both of those, I guess. Pretty many of the tracks I didn't hear or play as a kid.
Yeah.
But just listening through all the composer's work from the SID collection, I discovered a lot of tracks, and when we hear it, I can feel the vibe. If it would work with my regular treatment, I can feel it quite fast. So
okay,
so I've discovered a lot of new music as well that I didn't hear back in the day. Because what we heard back then is kind of limited to how many games you were able to own or play or get your hands on. But with the SID collection, you have all the games, all the music. So, so I usually just
it helps.
It helps. So at a certain time when I was looking for new tracks to remix, I just took all the composer by composer. I took all the tracks and just put them on SID play at work and just gone through the list of music they created. And every 100 song or so, perhaps 1% of the songs you've gone through. Well, this looks sounds a little interesting. And then I put it aside, and I have small folders of interesting SIDs.
Yeah, okay. I just keep a large, like, modular file, SID file collection, and I just randomly bop them in Winamp and just enjoy them. Because getting these tracks back in the day was hard. You usually got them through LAN parties or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah.
But considering now, we didn't talk too much about Flimbo's Quest specifically, because... when it comes to the track that we listened to from Flimbo's Quest, when I listen to the original, it kind of sounds a bit minimalistic. You mostly just have like this main melody playing, but with your track, you added more. I would say a more soundscape to it, but I guess you also increased the BPM just a little bit to get that more dancey feeling. Because I'm guessing if you didn't do that, you might have had like a dance floor killer almost.
I'm not sure. Sometimes to get the BPM you were after, you had to transpose the song, because the time stretch algorithms of that time wasn't existing. I think so you just had to pitch it up or down to get them a decent BPM. But I think it might sound a little bit quicker or snappy because of the beat. It might be that the added parts would add some energy, and that might feel more energetic and a bit faster.
And considering now that we listen to the Chris Hillsbeck Mega Mix, how many different songs from Chris Hillsbeck do you have in this Mega Mix?
I'm not sure.
If you remember.
Yeah, I had a list somewhere, but I think perhaps 7 or 8 or something. Or perhaps more.
How did you make a pick? Because you don't have too many mega mixes, first of all.
No.
You usually tend to have like Flimbo's Quest, Comic Bakery, and so on, but now you have a Chris Hillsbeck mega mix specifically.
Yeah, because I was thinking that Chris was my Amiga god for music. I thought that I almost need a full CD just to cover the most usual tracks created by him, and it was quite tough song or tough track to create, because it included so many songs But it was one of those that I just felt I need to do this. It was some kind of mission of my life. At some point in my life, I have to create something from Chris's songs from the Amiga because they're so extraordinary.
Yeah, you also have a couple of other composers that you really love and adore. Is this also maybe in the future you want to cover like mega mixes for these two, or was it more an exclusive for Chris here?
No, I have Hippel mega mix as well. Hippel was one of my other composers or favorite composers on Amiga. What I liked about Hippel was he wasn't afraid of using ship sounds, and he also had a very good drum and bass samples in combination with the chippy waveforms, and that was a dream for my ears. That combination was unbeatable. He was really great, Hippel as well. They're quite different, but I really like them for both their qualities.
Now, Chris Hillsbeck I know quite well, but for Johnson Hippel I actually do not know like one track or anything really, to be honest. But Chris Hillsbeck is a guy with his name on many popular games that it felt like everybody was playing back in the day. But for Johnson Hippel, I'm actually unsure. Maybe I have played multiple games with him, but maybe I haven't.
Yeah, I think it was more of an obscure. He wasn't obscure on the Amiga at the time, but by today's standard, I don't think he is too well known for what he did back then. I think he was on Atari primarily, but also worked on the Amiga. So on the Atari, you didn't have samples like you had on the Amiga. You had some kind of waveforms. I think it was pulse waves or something. And he did quite a lot with that kind of hardware to start with. And he adapted that to Amiga as well. And I for me, with soft spots for chippy stuff, I liked his tunes.
No, it is nice. It is really nice. I just when it comes to all this kind of music, it is first of all hard to kind of grasp everything because there's so much music and content out there.
Yeah.
Usually when it comes to movies, series, and so on, I tend to not repeat watching them. But it's really hard with music.
Yeah.
It is really hard with music.
Yeah. Because if you find something, you just want to...
I want to have it on loop.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder why that is, because it's different medium, but music...
Yeah, it is. But I get addicted.
Yeah, you don't get addicted. If you're watching a TV series, if you get addicted, you just want to watch more. You don't want to watch the same episode over and over.
Yeah, that's right. That's weird. That's really weird. I never really thought about it.
No, me neither.
I just know that when I find something I really love and adore, I can listen to one track for like 4 full days. I don't mind.
Yeah, me too.
But it's so much better when I can listen to a full album, though.
Yeah, I agree.
But I know from this interview, I also know you have a special relationship to albums as well. You usually don't tend to listen to full albums, as you usually tend to like only a smaller number of tracks. Are you still the same way since then?
Yeah, but I think that has changed quite radically, because you don't put a single record or a CD and just have those 12 songs to listen to. You have all the songs you can listen to. So you can make a playlist or jump back and forth between songs. It's a completely different format today.
Yeah.
When listening to music,
it's like when I heard about vinyl, LP, and so on, that they usually tend to have the best tracks that the producers of the vinyl, they usually tend to put them either on the first or the fourth place in the album itself, because that's the inner part or the outer part of the LP.
Ah.
So it's easy to find the tracks all the time where they start.
Okay. Yeah, that's specific
Such a
to vinyl,
nerdy
right?
curious. Yeah,
Yeah.
specifically to vinyl. So, but since some tracks were actually released on vinyl and CDs when it was vinyl is kind of coming back. It seems like because we get more and more actual VGM OSTs on vinyl nowadays through different providers, and it's so much fun to see. Even though I don't own one myself, but it's fun to see.
Yeah, I'm not sure who wants that, but I think like
The audiophiles wants it. That's who wants it.
Yeah, and also I think it's more of a collector's thing than wanting to listen to it in the vinyl environment, because I know some young people are starting to buy vinyls just as a cool thing to have.
Yeah.
They don't own a vinyl player. They just want the vinyl as a collector's item.
Yeah, I'm guilty as charged, but I'm not buying too many. I actually got some vinyls from composers, and then I bought some signed copies of some others.
Okay. Yeah, if you have something signed, it's also a collector's thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm exactly what you just said.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's one part of the vinyl or the physical music format that people seems to be missing.
Yeah. No, I think considering the information I have from people that do buy vinyl and actually listen to it, one of the biggest reasons why they do that is because it's more crystal clear in audio from recording, as like a laser reading a CD is not as clear as reading the data as like that little needle and the scratches in the the vinyl and so on. But I don't know for sure. I'm not that well versed in understanding what sounds best. It's like the same when I'm playing a game. It can look like shit and I still like, oh, great graphics.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think that there could be a different tone to it, perhaps a little bit round or more. I'm not sure it's some kind of placebo also.
Could
that
be.
It's a physical thing, but whatever works. If it's placebo or there is differences in how the audio sounds, but I'm not sure if it's for the better or worse.
I guess it's all up to the person that listened to it. If they're happy, we're happy.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, going back to Chris Hulsbeck a little bit before we go into the next song. What is it that made Chris such a great composer to you when it comes to listening to his music? Was it any specific style that he had that you really loved and adored comparing to others?
Yeah.
Or was it more like, oh, I really loved and adored the games, and oh, it was Chris that made all of them?
No, it was almost the other way around. I liked the games because of his music. No, Guyana Sisters was a cool game anyway, and also Turrican was phenomenal. But I'm not sure. I think his melodies was in another division, and also he made the 7-voice routine for the Turrican game or some other game. I'm not sure the name of the format, TFMX or something.
Okay.
And then he could use more tracks playing at the same time from the cost of some CPU. I don't think they could use the 7-voice routine in the game because it was too heavy for the CPU. But I think in the intro and some places he could use more voices, and it sounded really, really great.
Interesting.
Yeah, but the music in itself, his melodies and the samples and
One of the things that I could see from my perspective is that Chris music usually tend to be very melodic and to some extent, just like you, having a sort of dance style to it. But for some reason it fits very well with the experience of the game. Considering one of the tracks that I love to talk about is also Gianna's Sister, but not the old game. I'm talking about the new, the Twisted Dreams. game where Chris Hillsbeck worked together with Machina Supremacy, where they made the music, both of them, where Chris worked on The Good Sister, which had this more serene kind of track, and then Machine Supremacy had the rock and roll, the evil sister or the bad sister, and had a really good, thorough, like metal style, and it was so good. It's so good.
Machina Supremacy, they made some amazing remixes back in the day. They were really, really awesome. I met them one time in London when I was on the. It was a release party for my first CD, and then Machina Supremacy was there. So I met those guys. I met a lot of other people as well. That was quite cool. I'm not the guy
really
that
cool.
that goes on those kinds of events, because I'm not sure. I'm not the demo scene kind of person. I just like the music. I don't work with demos and have interest in the scene other than for the music. I just happen to slip into that slot that I'm a demo scene guy, but actually I'm not. I've been to very few of these kinds of events, actually.
Okay. No, I actually thought also as well you were somewhat interested in the demo scene.
No, I think it's cool, and I really like that people still do this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Holy crap, that's really cool. Finland is really great at it, apparently. I've seen that they still are doing it on a yearly basis. It's so amazing.
Cool. Yeah. I like that people should stay in that state of mind. Yeah.
Yes. But staying in a state of mind as well, I think it's time for the next track of this week. It's not really in a state of mind, but we are stuck in progress. There we fade it out. Stuck in Progress. This is from, if I remember correctly, it was like the third album, which was released in 2020. So not too long ago. And from this album as well, mixed up with lead speak in it, with a 1 and a 3. I don't know if it has some bigger, since it's the third album, you have 1x3, I don't know, or is it just lead speak thing?
Oh, it's just lead speak.
Yeah.
No, actually, I think the 3 was because this 2 had a 2 in it, and mixed up has a 3. Yes, so
you're following up in numbers.
Yeah, it's not a great.
No, but I love it in some extent. I mean, it has a background ID. Yeah. I like it. No, but when you actually send your tracks first in this case, and that's usually how I work with this, because I usually tend to pick tracks that stands out, and the reason for that is I love to talk about, like, hey, you have this type of music, and you also have this type of music. Because usually when you are a composer and you would like to you freely can pick tracks from what you've done. You usually tend to pick tracks that are your favorites or things or tracks that you feel like really proud of, that everybody should listen to these. Correct.
Yeah.
But then I come along and it's like, hey, Flimbo's Quest was an amazing track because it was the first track that I ever listened to that you released. And when it comes to this, I actually haven't listened to too many of the tracks from the Mixed Up. I usually tend to listen to your earlier work from the first and the second album. But
exactly
on this
like
one,
exactly like everybody else.
But the thing is, I usually tend to listen to you on shuffle. So most likely I might have listened to these tracks over and over again at some point. But anyway, going through the songs that you picked, I wanted to have at least one track picked from the Mixed Up album. So when I started going through all these tracks, I felt like they're all really good. There were so many tracks. I actually switched track like 4 times, but I was like, no, I gotta pick this one now. And one of the reasons why I picked specifically Stuck in Progress is due to the fact of the melody in this sense. It feels like this old classic track, but specifically this old Swedish track. The melody that I'm hearing from this one is Växel hallå hallå.
That's exactly correct.
Exactly, and this is also why I picked this track.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So it's so much fun to hear that you're remixing so much, and all of a sudden we can hear an old Swedish track. So I would love to hear a little bit why.
Yeah, this track was made for a game on, I think it was iPhone. I was supposed to create a bunch of tracks, perhaps 6 for a game.
Mm-hmm.
It was some kind of Mario Kart style game converted to iPhone or something.
Okay.
So I created 6 tracks. So I was quite short of time and didn't get paid too well. So I was panicking to find ideas, and I really enjoy that song. Hello, hello.
Yeah.
So I adapted that track and created a chiptune style song from it.
In all honesty, if you would have released this as just a summer remix, I would totally buy it. It's like Växel hallå hallå summer edit mix or something like that. I was like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit in the gray zone because it has some unique elements to it, but it's quite recognizable as from the original. But I don't think anyone have too much problem with the chiptune conversion of it.
Mm-hmm.
I made it in a format that was supposed. It could just use perhaps 100 kilobytes of memory. So I made a module, a PC module of it, and then I remixed it, or I enhanced it, or made it properly to release for this album.
Oh.
I had quite a bunch of tracks just laying around that would fit a little polish, or recreating them was quite quick. I guess just a couple of evenings for each track. So it was quite. It was not a heavy lift to have them up to a decent level.
Yeah.
So the Mixed Up is just a lot of tracks I haven't released. It's just 8, but a couple of tracks I just threw in to get them out for the people to enjoy.
Yeah, and I think we all feel blessed that you did as well. I mean, they're really good.
Yeah, thanks.
One of the other tracks that I was like high on my list is the only Swedish track as well, Johanna Hård. I just thought that the track name there was so freaking hilarious.
the track is it's actually original, but it has a piratey theme, and so I googled who is a famous pirate that isn't that's Swedish, and
okay.
yes, so Johanna Hård is I think she's some kind of a pirate from a couple of 100 years ago that existed in real life. So that's the
Oh
name
my
for
god!
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. These kind of things are really fun to hear, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, you also have this Frosty Tree Traps, which is I actually got surprised when I heard it, because I think I definitely need to have that one in a future like Christmas.
Yeah.
Like I always make a Christmas episode, and I feel like I'm starting to run out of ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
The
just
Frosty Tree Traps are so nice.
Yeah. I think there's some the sleigh bells. That sounds Christmassy in it.
Yeah, definitely. But considering also what we have with Mixed Up in 2020 now, considering the other two albums that you made specifically, this one feels... But I think it's mostly because you did just throw things in order to release them. But it feels like this is the widest type of album that you've done to date.
I didn't understand the question.
I mean, considering all the different tracks that you have, if we're comparing them to the first and the second album, the first and second album sounds kind of the same. It has like a style.
Yeah.
But with Mixed Up, you really are mixing it up. So it feels like it's here and there.
Yeah. I was actually trying to capture... it has always been a riddle for me why people keep listening to the old Flimbo's Quest style tracks. And so the first track I made with that in mind was Flimbo's Quest, the title theme, because I tried to make it in a similar style to those older songs from the O2 album, and also try to get chiptune feeling mixed with the old Euro dance beats to try to capture people with those elements. But people still keeps listening to the old tracks. I think the reason is they have those in their rotation or the playlists, and it just keeps playing those songs.
Yeah. I think it becomes a little bit better now with Spotify, for specifically, now that they actually have this, Instant Remedy has released something new and so on.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it is. And I hope more and more people can get a better glimpse of this. For example, the last track that we're going to listen to on this week is one of the latest tracks, which I never really saw, like the latest release. So when you posted about it, I was like, did you release this track at first? I was like, oh yeah, I did. I just gave it a listen, and I really loved and adored it. But yeah, what is the hardest part with making a remix for you when it comes to push and shove?
I think it's much easier to make Sid remix because you already have source melody, because I often use the original SID sounds.
Yeah.
The SID sound is kind of neutral. You can add almost anything you want, or have any kind of arrangement with dance style, and it just works for me. When you have Amiga music, you have samples, and samples are really difficult to replace, because with samples you have it's not as neutral. You have, for example, a flute or some kind of a synth that sounds very specific for that song. If you replace that, it's really easy to lose a lot of the character of the song. So it's just not replacing the instrument with a better one, because it will most probably sound better quality-wise, but you will lose the original.
You will lose the heart, kind of.
Yeah. You will lose the heart. It was a lot more difficult to make Amiga remixes. Also, the structure in the Amiga music is much harder to tamper with or to remake. I'm not sure why. I think it has it's much easier to just grab something from the SID and have a loop of the main melody or something, and you can do what you want. But with the Amiga, I'm not sure if there are other styles or something that's much harder to work with.
But how do you feel for a song just as Stuck in Progress when you have a normal track that is not SID and you SIDifying it instead? Is that an easy process for you, or is this something you struggle with as well?
No, that was quite easy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was much easier. I think it depends on the song as well, but
okay.
in that case it worked pretty well. The structure and those kind of things worked out pretty well.
When you work with SIDifying something, are you working with some sort of tracker in order to get these SID sounds?
Actually, I always use a tracker. I use a Renoise. Yeah, it's a. I've stuck with trackers. I can't. I've tried other stuff, but I'm not as comfortable, and I think I'm too old to make the big shift. And it handles. It can do everything the other does can, almost. But I don't use. I use virtual instruments for the SID sounds. I'm not sure of the name, but they sound awesome and does the job in a convenient way.
Yeah, tools today as well are kind of exponentially becoming better as well, just like technology in all sense. The amount of family trackers and so on that really is just to cover specific sounds and so on is getting like more releases over like every year, feels like, to some extent. It's really amazing what people are doing.
Yeah, since I'm not interested in recreating the exact sound of the original hardware, I'm just interested in playing with waveforms and to add to my regular instrumentation. If you want it to sound really authentic, you have to use some specific tools. I'm not sure. You mentioned it, I think. Some trackers for the NES sound chip and so on. Yeah,
the family tracker for
example. Family tracker. Yeah.
Yes. No, but that is super interesting. But yeah, with the Mixed Up, we were in 2020. I saw some news from 2019 where you talked about this Kickstarting project called Amiga Power, an album with attitude. Where you actually worked on 2 different songs. I tried to get more glimpse of this album, but it ended up me just checking a video clip of some girl who covered when she got that album home.
Yeah,
but you worked on 2 songs.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you've seen it too. That was a really good video though.
No.
But you made two songs there, so one demo and one from an actual game.
Yeah.
And the demo was from Coma, and the game is Super Tennis Champs.
Yeah.
How come these tracks were basically selected to make for this album?
That guy who did the Kickstarter project, Matthew, he was prior to that he had requested me or asked me to do a couple of remixes for him that didn't exist, that he always wanted to have remixed. So he actually paid me to do those remixes, and then for the Amiga Power project, he asked me to do those 2.
Okay, so the Amiga Power, like everything they got from the Kickstarter, was kind of to pay commission then to the artists that made mixes for this album.
Yeah, so I got paid to do those 2.
That's super interesting. Did you have any background to either of these yourself?
No, I didn't actually. The Tennis Champs just thought like a good fit for my style because the original was kind of dancey. Not too interesting. It worked out pretty well. And the Coma was that was a quite tricky song to do because the original was quite weird and in a good way, but it didn't have.
It was a challenge.
Yeah, it was really a challenge because it didn't have a structure, or I didn't know how to relate to it or what to do with it. But yeah, it.
What was the breakthrough for you?
I'm not sure. I just stuck my head down and tried a lot of different ideas, and finally there was something I could work with, and then it became much easier. And I quite like that song because it's so unusual. It's really not my thing, but it's good. It's good to do stuff.
Be outside of your comfort zone a bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to do stuff outside your comfort zone sometimes, because you will develop skills you didn't have otherwise.
Yeah. Is this something you have taken with you after this project, or have done any further investigation upon?
Yeah, since I started experimenting with vocals and singing, that's quite far out in the outside the comfort zone. So doing stuff I've never done before is a good experience.
Awesome. But with that, I think it's a great segue to actually listen to the last track of this week. Don't you think?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So let's listen to some vocals from Instant Remedy with the song named Masquerade.
She's a real, the girl behind the mask. She's a real, the girl behind the mask. She's a real, and no one else can match those eyes. A masquerade, masquerade, a masquerade, masquerade. She's a real, she's dangerous, so no one else can match those eyes. She's concealed, so mysterious that nobody can catch her lies. Drop this game of fame, no one can win. I believe this can be serious if I can get under her skin.
Masquerade, and this was the last track of the week. And yeah, as everybody could hear, this is also a vocalized track. I think it is one of the first tracks ever you've done with vocals so far.
Yeah, that's correct.
I know you have some sort of vocals in some, but I think, if I remember correctly, I read somewhere that those were like bought in audio pieces.
Yeah, I've been practicing. A couple of years ago, I decided I wanted to shift focus, and I'm not sure if it was the age or something.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking that I need to do something different. Go outside my comfort zone and take another step. So I started vocaling or singing and practicing, and that was a couple of years ago, and I've been practicing quite regularly. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time, and I knew that when I was starting out, since I haven't any natural talent for it. It has to be hard work and persistence, and I had that to compensate with.
Yeah. No, usually it tends to, when we're talking about people being really good or being proficient at something, we usually tend to talk about those 10,000 hours in order to master or become an expert in something.
Yeah.
Are you experiencing this specifically now with the singing then, that all the hours you're putting in, that you actually feel yourself that you're evolving to the next step?
Yeah, the singing is quite similar to physical training or working out that I do regularly as well. You know, if you put in the effort, you will get the rewards. It just takes a lot of time, more time that 95% of people are willing to put up with. So just doing it a lot and being aware of what you're doing right and wrong, you can get decent at singing if you really want to.
No, I know myself. Where I go, for example, to karaoke bars and sing. I'm not a professional singer in any sense or way or form, but I know from my years now heading to a karaoke bar every second week, I'm noticing differences too.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And I actually went to a karaoke bar in Helsingborg as well before, because I knew I was going to sing at Moderskeppet 2. So I thought that I need to expose myself to people with a microphone before I step up on the stage. And it's quite frightening to do. And it's doing it completely without drinking anything or drinking just a couple of beers. It's a really big difference because
yes,
if you do it completely without any alcohol, it's really you just stand shaking and feeling weird.
Yeah, I'm always shaking. I have that small kind of stage fright. I stand still, I don't do anything, I just sing.
Yeah.
Like I'm freezing but shaking at the same time.
Just looking at the words and doing your thing, and then no, it's over. But if you had a couple of beers, it feels a lot better, and
you
then
relax in a whole other way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think it's fun, even though I would be sober singing, but I feel more confident and relaxed if I drink at least one beer.
Yeah.
Before I sing.
Absolutely.
So usually I tend to kind of avoid alcohol overall because it's not good for you, but
yeah,
sometimes it's needed a little bit of courage, liquid courage, as they say.
Yeah, it shouldn't be much, just to take the edge off.
Yeah. But when you're recording at home, for example, and working with vocals like this, Masquerade was the first track that you did, which is also a cover that I noticed from Erik Sade's song from 2010.
Yeah.
I'm guess, like a wild guess, it's a favorite for you, this track. I remember this one when I looked at the video. I was like, oh yeah, it's this track. But I totally forgotten about it.
Yeah, my kids listened to Erik Sade when he was. They were in that age when every kid was listening to Man Boy and all his songs. So we had that CD in the car, and I think that was the first song on the CD, and I really liked it because there was something about the melody, and I thought maybe I'll do a remix of that someday. And then I started to practice it when I practiced my regular practice, and when I recorded, I thought that it might work in some weird way, and then I started creating the song. What I liked about that song is it has a fusion between EDM and Italo disco, a genre from the 80s. Which I really like. It's too bad not a lot of other people like that genre as much as I do, because it's my favorite. But I think
it is really great.
Yeah, I really like it. there was some chords in the beginning that sounds a bit Turrican or Turrican-like, and that I like that as well to throw in.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever thought about it, but it feels like you're utilizing some other type of bass than from your other work that you've done so far. Because when I'm listening to this track, first of all, it's a really great job. But the bass that goes on, if I'm just listening to that bass, I can start hearing Airwolf.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds so much like that one. Like it sounds like the same bass to me.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Maybe it's the nostalgia again.
Yeah, no, you're correct. It's the same time signature. It's 3/4. Or it's not a regular dance, or it's used quite a lot in dance as well. It suited the song to use the bass like that. Yeah, it's actually Airwolfy beat. I haven't thought about it, but you're correct.
Yeah. No, I thought I was crazy, but yeah, I'm not crazy.
Yeah, it's true.
No, but in all honesty, I really like the transaction. It's been super fun to hear about how you kind of evolved over time. And I can only say that I'm just super excited to see what you will come up with next. Maybe we will get a vocal edition of Växel Hallå Hallå. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was not a no.
Yeah, that's not a no. But I have a couple of other songs lined up for release. I think one of them is coming out in a couple of weeks or a month or so. It's actually a song. I played it on Myrskeppet as well, and it's a song I wrote from the ground up with the lyrics, and it's a really Eurodance style by all the rules. So I'm excited to see, because I think that's something that's missing, because those old bands like Too Unlimited and Look Twice and Dr. Bombay, all those old bands, they just play the old songs from back then. They I don't think they, and if they do something new, they do something like that sounds like it's done today. It's not like it's the vibe from the 90s. It's just, or in most cases, some cases they try, but I think it's because I think there is not a need, but I think there's people that would love to hear some new music that sounds like the old music, but it's new, and because there's limited music that's really good in that genre, and I think because there are festival events, the 90s dance style events.
Yeah, you're thinking about I love the 90s, I love the 80s,
exactly.
that kind of
and all over Europe,
festival.
and all over the Europe at least, perhaps all over the world.
We can see we have interest in this. These are festivals that get quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
Or if I understand from these, I haven't been to one myself, even though I wanted to. I just think personally it's a bit expensive.
Yeah.
For what we get. But it seems like a large variety of individuals end up on these. It's not just us, the older people, that want to have the nostalgia that goes there.
Yeah, most people are like that actually, but there are younger people as well. I'm not sure how they found out or why they go to those kinds of events, but
maybe it could be parents.
Yeah, perhaps they heard the music when they were little or something. But I think it could be cool to create a couple of tracks in that style to give to the people that wants more of this kind of music.
That needs it.
Yeah, that needs it.
Yeah. No, that sounds absolutely fantastic, to be honest. I'm definitely looking forward to even more now to that.
Yeah. I don't think my regular fans fond of me doing other stuff than the chiptune remix Sid Amiga stuff. I think it's a quite different audience.
Yeah.
So
you've not thought about having another stage name for when you're singing then?
Yeah, I've had those thoughts as well. But I'm not sure.
But at the same time, it's still you.
Yeah, there are good sides about staying Instant Remedy, but it could be better to split it up in as different acts.
Maybe. Or it could be a great way if somebody likes the Eurodance and get the nostalgia then when they notice you released other things as well.
Yeah.
But of course, you might have the other side, like, oh, did I let the fans down that is already listening to it? But at the same time, I mean, over time, you are developing and you change as well. You're not the same person that you were 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was my conclusion in the end, that it's just an evolution. It's not that I don't like my old stuff. It's that I want to do something new. I want to try another direction.
Yeah. No, that sounds absolutely amazing, like I said before. So the question is, do you have... Now we know you have a new vocal track coming in pretty soon then. Of course, I will try to cover it as best as I can to post it here in our social medias and so on. Yeah. But is there anything else that's going on in your life right now that you want to talk or can talk about?
Yeah, as my day job, I work as a game developer in Helsingborg, and the game we're working on now, or for a year back or so, is a James Bond game for iOS. It's just premium. You have to pay for the service. It's Apple Arcade, so it's just for those who have that subscription that can play it.
Yeah.
But it's quite a nice game. We're working with the guys that does the Bond movies, or not us directly, but it's getting all the stuff approved by Eon. Those are the ones who owns the license. It's a nightmare to every little thing they want to. Oh no, the shoes are not black enough, or it's this kind of small nitpicky things.
And the name of this game is Cypher 007.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have the name said as well for people who might get interested in this.
Yeah, sorry. So, and at work I do music sometimes as well, but not as often. When it feels like a good fit.
You're not working as an artist anymore?
I'm working as a graphics artist primarily, but I do the audio, and sometimes I make music, but not as often. It's not as fun as it's to do your own stuff.
Yeah, I can guess, because if I remember correctly, the original title that the studio is working on, Pixelbyte is the studio name, is Space Marshals, right?
Yeah, I've done some songs for that one. One game I made all the music for was Xenoverk Tactics. That was we needed a 80s sound like from the movie. I'm not sure of the name. We needed 80s old synthesizer style music, and it was difficult to find something fitting that we could just buy. So I made the music for that. That was quite cool.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. Is there anything else you would like to promote there? Any upcoming?
I don't promote so much of my work. That's a job for other people.
for PR.
Yeah, for PR.
They need to do their job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but then we'll take the usual things then. So if people want to get in contact with you in some way, just to say like, hey, thank you for giving us this awesome music, is there any way they can contact you?
Yeah, I guess people usually contact me on Facebook Messenger. I think that's just sending me a message on the Facebook. I think that's the most common thing.
Awesome. So if people feel like they want to give a little bit of a shout out to Instant Remedy or Martin here, then definitely just check out Instant Remedy on Facebook.
Yeah, that would be the best place to start.
Yeah. No, it's been amazing to have you on this episode. I've really gotten like so much brighter view of who you are, what you've gone through in order to get where you are today, doing a track such as Masquerade now.
Yeah, it's cool to have when you have people around you. They know that I do the blip bloppy style music, so it was kind of a process to show those that I can. That's not the limitation of what I can do. I can do other stuff as well. Kind of show that I can do. Show what I can do.
Yeah. No, I understand entirely. Yeah. So with that said, I think we're closing down this episode. The end of the show, and Thank you yet again.
Thanks for having me.
And I will just go through my normal shenanigans now as we're closing down here. So yes, other episodes of Gameable Audio, you'll find those on our homepage at videospelsklubben.se. You can find us on Spotify, but also in your closest podcast app. Feel free to follow and comment on one of our social medias, either on Facebook or on Instagram. Just search for Gameable Audio. And just commenting and following helps a lot for other people to find this amazing music in the end. You can also support this podcast for future content and quality upgrades by just thinking about, or not thinking, but becoming a Patreon. In the end, this will work as a fund when I don't need any more money. We will work as a fund for new composers out there and give them money instead. And our current awesome backers that we do have today is Daniel Onemark, Lars Schenström, Titti Schenström, Kevin Wikström, and Mike Björkholm. Links to where you can find more information about Instant Remedy, where to find the music and listen and support him. You'll find those in our main post at videospelsklubben.se. And the next episode theme that we're going to look into is a little bit of more of a question now that I've structured the names of the podcast's episodes now. So we're going to look into who is Wilbert Roget II. Super interesting. Do you know of this person, first of all, Martin? Wilbert Roget.
No, I can't say that I do, actually.
One of the latest tracks that he released is actually for a Swedish release game called Helldivers 2, which also caught my interest.
Okay. Yeah, that's a quite significant game.
Yeah, it's on everybody's lips at the moment when we're looking at it. Well, until Final Fantasy now released.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to dive a little bit deeper to see who Wilbert is. Of course, I will do a lot of different research on this person, as I usually do. So we will see about that. Hopefully, maybe I can write to him. Maybe he'll join in. I don't know. Maybe he's a busy person. We'll see. The episode theme music was composed by the amazing Thor Myrdal as usual. And with that said, I want to thank everybody for listening in on this week's episode. I am Christopher Schenström. This was episode 31 with being guest by Instant Remedy or Martin Noriander. Thank you so much for coming in, and everybody out there. See you all guys next time.
Thanks for having me, and bye everybody.